into the to-do list. The first one is determine your why. And that sounds like a nice employee spreadsheet or like corporate conference statement. But really, what is your goal? What is my goal? As I think about my relationship with my daughters, and faith is obviously the ultimate goal, but why this connection? Where's the goal of our relationship? Is it long-term or short-term? And that can really dictate. If we're only focused on these few years of them still in our home, then we're missing a bigger picture. We'll just focus on being their best friend or them being happy, and we'll miss the broader picture. Do we have unrealistic expectations for this stage? I'm smiling because I do this all the time. I'm acting like we should be like skipping down the hall like Gilmore Girls and best friends, and we go everywhere together, and that's not reality for most of us out there. So rest assured, you're not alone, and maybe just check our expectations. Are we wanting something more than they're able to give at 16? No 16-year-old ever walked in and said, "Mom, I just love who you are. I love all you're pouring into my life. You're my best friend, and I want to be with you forever." No, that's in the movies. So just let's lower our expectations. Another one that God put on my heart that I was like, ow, that one hurt, is the goal tied to behavior or performance? Is it a relational thing that we're after, or is it a transactional thing? Meaning, a common mistake I see Christian parents make is that if we tie our love to their faith, how strong their faith is. Did they go to church? Did they make their bed? Those things are tactical and transactional, but they don't make for a good relationship. So I've known at times my daughters have felt like, I like you when ... I love you when ... And those are real tensions. But at the end of the day, we want them to feel unconditional love, that they can feel that no matter what happens, we have a connection with them, and they are ours, and they are our daughter. One of my mentors, Sandra Stanley, she's married to Andy Stanley, that's out of Atlanta, and they just wrote a parenting book called Parenting. And in there, they talked about their North Star, so their why for parenting, and it says, we want kids who enjoy being with us and with each other. We want kids who enjoy being with us and with each other as siblings, even when they no longer have to be. And I loved that, because here's two pastors saying it's not ultimately, we certainly want them to know and follow God, but for the goal of the relationship, it is about us being friends for the long term and having a relationship for the long term. I didn't want to ask you to do something that I'm not willing to do, so I spent some time preparing for this. Like, what is the why for me and my girls? Mine's a little lengthy, so hang in there. I said, I want to be a trusted, safe person in their life where they experience unconditional love and true belonging through my presence and ongoing encouragement. And I got that example from my mom. Not all of us have great relationships with our mom, but I look back to what she did well. That's what she was. She was present, and she encouraged us, and I knew that there was no sin too big that would just oust me from the family. I was always could belong in my mom's arms, and that is such a goal for me with my girls. So the first do is determine your why. The second do is give each other grace. And again, another easy one to say, but a hard one to live out. But you need grace as a mom, because honestly, it's hard. If no one's told you that lately, parenting is all hard, but parenting girls as a mom, a couple of females, butting heads together, it is hard. And your upbringing and your role model of who you had in your life can make it super challenging. Maybe you have a distant relationship. Maybe you didn't have a mom. Maybe you had one that was super controlling, but you've got that baggage coming in trying to parent in a way that maybe you don't know how to do. Some of us have great role models. I'm trying to live up to my mom, who feels like a saint in my life, and I'm doing it a little differently than her because we are different. So just remember, give yourself grace. It's hard. Secondly, your personality is unique, and her personality is unique. So I don't care who you live with, your husband, your aunt, your best friend, any two people are going to butt heads over time if you live with someone, because there's two humans. And so give yourself grace. Lastly, I also want you to think about that your role as a parent is not going to make them happy all the time. It's just not. And if that's our ultimate why, we're going to be button heads a lot, or we're going to forget the things that they need to know and learn. For example, Ella is 16. She has a new car. I care about what time she gets home. I care about how far she's driven. I care about who's in the car with her. It's all about love and protection and boundaries, but sometimes those rules and those discussions make me a parent over her friend, and she does not like it because she's 16, and that's okay. So we have to circle back. So just give yourself grace that it's not that you're doing it wrong. Your daughter doesn't like you less than my daughter likes me. You are parenting her, and that causes some division. Another thing is you need grace, she needs grace. As your daughter, she's literally growing and changing every day. Like her body is shooting up and out physically. Her emotions, she wants to hit something, punch something, and you are often the person she's going to bounce off of. And my good buddy, Sissy Goff, who is a counselor, and she is the expert. So if you're looking for an expert, go to Sissy Goff. But she says your daughter's job is to become her own person. And it's like a pendulum that swings from independence to dependence. So she's swinging off of you to try to become her own person, and she's swinging back, and she's often kicking off you the hardest. And I notice that because my husband can do no wrong. They love him. He's hilarious. But I am the punching bag, and it really hurts. So give your daughter grace. Know that she's not purposely trying to jab at you. She is growing and changing, and this is a natural part of the process. Can she be respectful in the process? Yes. Can we draw boundaries? Yes. But just know her going out and in is a part of her growing. Another way you can give her grace is just realize that she is gaining that independence, and we need to see them as people and not little robots that are supposed to act, just perfect for us, but she is growing, and we need to see her as a young girl. Even imagine yourself at that age. So just remember, she needs grace, you need grace. We both need grace. That's a definite do. And the next thing, I want you to just be encouraged. You are not alone. The next time you're on social media and you see a picture of me and my daughter and we're doing a selfie and we're smiling, or someone else is, right behind that is probably a moment where she snapped my head off or I snapped her head off and we slammed doors. And nobody's sharing about that because it would probably be disrespectful to the kid. But it's just the nature of social media. We're seeing everyone's glorious, beautiful pictures, but we're not realizing everyone is butting heads at some level with her daughter. For example, on Wednesday nights, we go to church and we go to Compass in Colleyville. We love it. I'm a 10th grade leader. Ella is a 6th grade leader. Larson just goes to her group. And so there was a night we were doing silent disco. We all had our headphones on, and I am jamming out. I forget I'm 46. I'm having a blast. I'm dancing to One Direction, Taylor Swift, and we're dancing. And I walk up. Larson looks like she's seen a ghost. She's my 13-year-old. And she says, "Mom, stop." And then the older one, 16, said, "Come here, Mom." And we start dancing. And I just got home and laughed because I thought, just last year, it was reverse. Larson wanted to be beside her and was not embarrassed by me. And Ella was like, "Please stop. Don't look at me. Don't tell anyone you're my mom." So just know they're changing their seasons. They are going to ebb and flow with how they feel about you. But you got to be the adult and hang in there for the long term. The third thing to do is study them daily. Study them daily. My friend Karen Stubbs is also on part of this event, and she does a message about knowing and studying your child. And so I encourage you to go listen to everything she's written and talked about on the subject because she'll go into depth. But there's really a lot of things we can value by knowing our daughter. The more you know her, the easier time you will have connecting. And of course we know her. Either you adopted her, you birthed her, or she lives in your home. You think you know her, but do you? She's becoming her own person. She's got likes and dislikes. We got to start listening. And I am the worst at this. I like to teach, I like to tell them what I think, and I have to fight against my natural tendency in this season, tween and teen, to listen more, less fixing, less teaching. They can sniff out a lecture immediately. There's a glaze that comes over them and they know you're about to have a teachable moment. Learn what they love and enter their world. So learn, what are their patterns? When are they most likely to chat? Least likely? What makes them giggle? What is their favorite store? Their favorite music? I'm going to Taylor Swift. We spent half their college tuition on it, but they love Taylor Swift, and I am excited to be in that moment with them and see what they love. What's their favorite coffee drink? Their movies. Both of my girls are really into rom-coms, and they admitted that our rom-coms back in the day were way better than the ones they have now. So make a list and tick through them together. Find out what interests them. Who are their friends? How can you go into their world? One of the things my older daughter likes to do is they like to do, let's say, a Galentine's or whatever the theme is. They like to have a little party just because of the theme. So I'm sure they'll want to have an Easter party. But I let my home be that place. I'll give them a budget and say, go get the cookies. Y'all order the decorations. But I try to invest in things they're interested in versus making them come into my world, which is hard to do when they're older. I promise, if I said to Ella, "Hey, today, let's go run to the bank and then run and get some cleaning supplies," she'd be like, "No, thanks. I'll stay on the couch." But if I said, "Hey, want to go grab some coffee and then walk around South Lake? You show me some of the shoes you're liking right now," she would jump all over it. I'm not promising I'll buy the shoes, but she's very into shoes. And so you got to start paying attention for where you can engage with them. They cannot hear our wisdom or our life lessons if it's the only time we engage in them. We're so guilty of this. In the little years, we're in teaching years, and then as we're growing, we're in coaching years. And so that looks like less teaching, less talking, more listening, more coaching, and guiding them. So remember that they will be able to hear what you want to say about Jesus or what they should do with a situation if they have that relational capital with us. They know that we're for them, and we know we want to hang out with them, not just for the big and important events, but for the little things of life.